Hello everybody, Mr. Nom Nom Man here again, and I got another tank review video for you. This time it is going to be the M4A2E4 Ripper Sherman. This is a Tier 5 American Premium. It is exactly the same as this tank right here, except for it has a fancy paint job. Um, let's go ahead and get into the tank. Gonna go ahead and start with the gun. Now, you may recognize this gun. It's the same gun as the top gun on the M3 Lee. Um, Now, this gun has pretty low penetration at 92 for a Tier 5 medium, but the premium rounds do jump up to 127, which can make it manageable. You're doing 110 average damage, which is pretty much on par for mediums at this tier. You have a very good aim time, very good reload time, and the accuracy at .46 is going to pretty much prevent this tank from performing any kind of sniper role. You're going to need to be up close with this thing. Next up, we're going to go back here and we're going to check out this tank's armor. As you can tell, the hull has a frontal armor of 64 millimeters, 38 on the sides, 38 on the rear, and the turret is 76 on the front, 51 on the sides and rear. Now, if you compare this to the M4 Sherman, you can see it is actually quite substantially better armored than the standard M4 Sherman. On the front of the hull and turret, it does lose a little bit of armor on the side and rear of the turret, but what you gain is in my opinion, it makes it a little bit better of an armor layout as opposed to the M4 Sherman. You also have a little more hit points. You got 40 more hit points. And the acceleration, if you see right there, the M4 Sherman weighs a little bit less and has a better horsepower. So the horsepower to weight ratio of the M4 Sherman is 15.4. The Ripper is 13.3. That little bit of a difference is noticeable, especially on takeoff, but the Ripper does have a higher overall top speed, so it's kind of a push in terms of overall mobility. And as you can see here on the Ripper, it does get a little bit more turret rotation. Then, as with most American mediums, distinguishes them from other mediums at tiers, the view range. At tier 5, 370 meters is pretty dang good for a view range. Let's go over here. We'll filter it to tier 5 mediums and just look at the view ranges that we have going across the board. 330, you'll see 370 here on the three Shermans. The M7 actually bumps up to 380, but it's in a light tank line. But here you'll see from the here on out, it's just going to be low. 320 is not very good. 370 is just when you add stuff like coated optics, it actually starts becoming very beneficial at this point. Getting on to actual equipment for this tank. As with pretty much all mediums, rammer and vents are going to be just kind of go-tos. It can't run a vertical stabilizer, so you don't have to worry about that. With your third slot, now you could use gun lane drive or coated optics. I personally like coated optics, and here's why. The aim time of this tank is 2.05 seconds, so when you add the gun lane drive, you're going to bring it down to 1.85 seconds, which is nice, but at the stock 2.05 seconds, you're already going to be aimed down before you're reloaded. So I don't see it as that big of a benefit. Now, with the coated optics, you're adding 37 meters on top of the 370, and it actually maxes out somewhere like 449 or so, I believe. And at tier 5, that's very competitive for an on-the-move medium. When you go over here to supplies, I do run a higher loadout of APCR, but that has to do with the relatively terrible penetration of the AP rounds. You will need APCR rounds against most equal and higher tier heavies, or even the tier 4 heavies. I could see potentially having to use APCR on if you're stuck engaging them frontally. And of course, you always are going to have a couple high explosive rounds on hand for resetting the cap and whatever. Um, for consumables, small repair and first aid kit is completely fine, and really a manual fire extinguisher would be completely fine. The engine on this is relatively durable. The exact numbers are this engine has 176 hit points versus the M4 Sherman's 136 hit points. But on top of that, this engine only has a 15% chance to catch on fire versus the M4 Sherman's 20% chance. So I just like automatic fire extinguishers. I run them on almost everything. I think they're a worthy investment. You're going to reduce it by another 10% and it pops automatically. So, and as far as crews, once again, this is a premium tank. You do not train crews for premium tanks. War Daddy is my American medium crew, or commander, I guess you should say, and he's pretty far along now in terms of which skills you should be focusing on first. Sixth Sense, Brothers in Arms, go to every time. After that, it's kind of up in the air. Repairs is always good. Same with Track Mechanic. I like combining those two. It allows you to drop a large repair kit. You don't have to worry about that passive bonus with those two. You're already getting your tracks up so quickly. It's really not a problem. Camouflage is always good. As far as American mediums go, recon and situational awareness are going to just extend your view range, so that's another plus. Snapshot smooth ride I have, that's great on mediums. Once again, especially on this tank, it's going to help in the fact that it doesn't have a vertical stabilizer. Alright, now we're going to get into some training room footage to kind of show you what this thing's armor is and is not capable of handling, and what this gun is capable of doing. I'm not going to use any APCR rounds. I want you to get the idea of what this gun can do with AP rounds. So here we go. First up, we have the PZS-35. It's shooting at the Ripper frontally. It has a penetration of 55 millimeters, and as you can tell, it's pretty much just bouncing every shot. It did get a damaging shot to the optics, and then you can see even here at a side, it's what angle it starts doing damage. Next is the SARL-42. It has a pen of 100 even. And as you can tell, it's getting some pens, it's bouncing some shots. It's right about the threshold of what this armor is going to block just frontally without angling. And once again, some side shots. Now this is an M4 Sherman with 128 pen. As you tell, it's having a much easier time penning pretty much no matter where. It does bounce off the side. And finally, the T-3485 with 144 pen, it's just slicing right through. We do get a couple side shots, but that's just the auto bounce angle of AP going into effect right there. Next up, we have the M4 Sherman that we're shooting at this time. Now we're using standard AP rounds. As you tell, we're getting some pens, some bounces off the turret. Did get some on the front of the hull and lower glacis. And even angled, still getting some shots in. One bounce here, and then the last shot is kill right there. Next up, against the T1 Heavy, this is just frontally against the T1 Heavy using AP. Pretty much no matter where, the front of the hull, lower glacis, shoot at the driver's ports. Right there, one hit the turret ring and snuck in some damage. As you tell, the pen on this is quite low. If you're stuck engaging a heavy target frontally, APCR is likely gonna you're going to have to likely switch to APCR to do any sort of damage. I do switch right here at the end just to give you an idea. And yeah, see right there, once I switch to APCR, I'm finally able to penetrate just a little bit. Alright. Here, this has to do with gun depression. You get 10 degrees of gun depression, except for on the two front hatches for the driver and co-driver gunner right there. As you can see, it 10 degrees all the way around. Then once it gets right here, it goes up. That's not me causing the barrel to go up. That's just how the depression profile is. This is a drag race against an M4. As you can tell, the M4 gets out ahead, but after a distance, the Ripper does catch up. And in an uphill scenario, the M4 just does better. And here's a little Easter egg I found. World of Warships logo on port. Anybody knew that? I didn't. Alright, well, here's the first game. It's going to be a Tier 5 match on Wide Park. Oh, I gotta change my viewing screen right here. I can't see what's going on in the game. Alright, so, like I said, we are top tier on Wide Park, starting on the north side. My first goal is going to get up to, what is that, like the D5 area onto the train tracks and peek over and start lighting people up with my decent view range since I got the coated optics going. The little white tank there is going to beat me to it and get the initial spots, but I'm going to get a few here. Now, in this tank, you got to keep the front armor facing forward. So that was a snapshot, as you can see. Now, I do have a really good crew in this, so keep that in mind. You know, a lot of the snapshots may have something to do with that, but in general, I feel like this does represent the overall playstyle of this tank. Took a side shot right there. I had to burn my repair and my first aid already. Sitting at just over half health and burned 2 of my consumables. That light tank made a hero run. Set already on fire, and this tank has a very low shell velocity, as you can tell from that shot right there. It just kind of hung in the air for a little bit. The actual shell velocity is like 600 meters per second, which is quite slow for a gun that isn't like a derp gun or shooting high explosive or something like that. Able to take out that tier 3 in 2 shots. At this point, you can see our team's pretty much dominating. Me and Dan have been sitting just right here, kind of with impunity. He's in the M4A2E4 Sherman, the non-Ripper variant. It's literally identical except for the paint. And the paint on this tank does not add anything to its camo. You have to still add permanent camo or something of the such if you want. Now, right there, the reason why I had to expose my side, but that was in order to get my gun down to get him. So that's where the little hatches for the drivers will come. You know, it'll be a pain in the butt sometimes. And once again, right there, I probably should have aimed in, taken that shot, but the snapshot failed. I'm still able to get the spotting damage on it. The enemy team at this point only has 4 tanks left. The Excelsior's pushing on that flank over there, but I'll let the rest of the team deal with it for now. I know the tank destroyer and artillery are back here, the AT-2 and the French artillery. I'm unsure of what the medium is at this point. It might still be that M4. No, the AT-2's right there, and already spots us. Gonna get up here and look around this corner, see what the AT-2's doing. He's already turning. I may have been able to make that, but with the busted ammo rack, I figured probably wasn't the best bet. Fall back. AT-2's coming this way, so I back up, trying to get a shot on Artie, but I want to keep the front of my tank facing that way in case he was coming fast. Well, fast for an AT-2 around that corner. And it's just down to these two. Figure I'm going to go and get a shot in on Artie.
That's gotta hurt.
And take Artie out while Dan's working on that AT2. And go around the other side of the building because the AT2 doesn't have a turret and can't face both directions at the same time. You see Artie launching shots in there. I don't know what they thought they were going to do. Oh, and I get one last shot that is a miss. So, in this game you can see the view range coming into effect, you can see the frontal armor, you can see how the gun works. I don't think I ever switched to APCR, but I was top tier. Now, when you do face tier 6s, APCR is you're gonna have to use it. I did get a 1.25 times silver bonus on this, so you can see it did affect the silver output. And top of the board, 1200 base XP. Once again, it's nothing fancy, but you get the idea of what the tank's capable of. Alright, here I'm on Great Wall, once again with Dan. He's in the E4 along with me. And at the beginning of the match, we're going to kind of wait and see what the team's doing. I go in and start moving left. Kind of expect the team to rush towards the base, so I start working this way. And it does look like the team's going straight towards the base, so somebody does need to take this flank. Dan's coming with me. We do have a tank destroyer coming with us. And eventually a light tank ends up making his way this way as well. So, using the speed to get up here, hopefully get good position on this hill. I'm going to cut up to the right. And this is kind of a newish map for Xbox players, you know, within the last, 6 months or so. And one thing I've noticed is this kind of uppermost point in the map up here seems to be a real strategic point on the map. Whoever takes this hill seems to really win the games out. I mean, with the exception of the other team capping out or something. But now with this new, I don't know if I played very much with the cap in the middle on this, but I figured it was still probably the best bet coming up this way. You know, high point is always a good thing, shooting down at another target. 6 cents pops, and there's a T-34 snapshot on target. Notice once again I do have to point the side of my tank a little more than I'd want, and I am aiming over right through the middle of it. There is a little bit where you can get down to 10 degrees right in the middle, and I'm just snapshotting here. And as you can tell, that I'm running my tank fully equipped. Dan did not have equipment on his tank, and he was running more or less a bare-bones crew to differentiate these two tanks. We were both snapshotting, and as you can tell, I was having a lot more success doing so. Alright, so at this point we have lost one tank, they've lost 4. And we've decided we're going to go ahead and push on down to the enemy spawn point. They do have 3 artillery. Go ahead and get them off the board as soon as possible. We have a light tank joining us finally. Looks like I had switched to APCR there earlier. I didn't notice that, but I just switched back to AP for our need to waste money. And once again, that was Dan snapshotting at the Artie. He on comms right now, he was saying it was fully zoomed in. It was a snapshot, and as you can tell, I was having a lot of success with it. He wasn't. I think that has a lot to do with the crew and the equipment I was running on it. The vents particularly. So here, didn't mean to cut Dan off, although it did look like that's what I was doing right there. Oops. But I wanted that Pascucci, so I took it. And at this point, it's just cleanup duty. We have this match won, and just gotta get the rest of them dead. Aesthetically, I do like the Ripper. A lot of people think it's kind of goofy. I think it's kind of neat. It is historically accurate, although I think it was on patent that this actual paint job. But nonetheless, it looks pretty neat. I might be wrong. It might have actually been a Sherman, but I seem to remember a patent, seeing an actual real-life patent painted this way. So, once again, right here, finals, got a win, got 4 kills with a Pascucci's and a sniper medal. So, most of the shots were either fully aimed in or let's see, 14 shots, 13. I don't know. There was a fair bit of actually aimed in shots and snapshots. So, but a sniper medal is not necessarily common in this. And on the other team, you gotta feel bad for that M4 right there. I mean, look how many people didn't even manage to get 100 points on that team. So I'm still color, I believe it is. I can't quite see. Great match, man. And that's it. That's my tank review for the M4A2E4. There's Ripper. Yeah, I have to look at it to memorize it. I just refer to it as the E4 or the Ripper. It's the same thing. Now, is it worth it? Yeah, I would say it's worth it. It's only 1900 gold in the store right now. It comes with some odds and ends. I forget exactly what. I'm sure it's a garage slot, maybe a premium day or two. But regardless, 1900 for the tank itself is still worth it. It does only play to tier 6. It makes decent money, and I enjoy playing it. I don't play it that much. I don't play tier 5s that much anymore, but when I do, I do break this thing out from time to time, and people always kind of think, what the hell is that? It's the Ripper, So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please like and subscribe to my channel, and even better, share it with anybody that you know who plays the game. Help me get my channel out there. I'm going to keep making the videos, and I hope you keep watching. Alright.